something a little bit different. Welcome to the cricket edition of Palmer Bet, and I can't wait for this. This is the Ashes edition. This is going to be huge, and I'm joined by a couple of absolute legends. When it comes to Ashes cricket, we had to get a Pom, we had to get an Aussie, and well, we've gone to the absolute best, that is for sure. And we've got the left arm off spinner Monty Panesar, 50 Test matches for the English cricket team. What a superstar he was. Monty, as we say, a very good evening. How are you, legend?
I'm really good, thanks. Really, really good. So excited to, be with you guys. And I tell you what, should have played more Test matches for England, but that's what happens. When that Boxing Day Test match 2013 was my last one. So in Australia, that's what it's about, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Hey,
You either you sink or you swim. And unfortunately, 2013, I sunk and I didn't play another Test match after that.
well, to be honest, mate, to play 50 is an absolute magnificent effort. We're going to get back to that Boxing Day test that you were part of. Our Australian version, and he's an absolute beauty. And I used to do a little bit of stuff with him many years ago now, Monty. He's one of the best wicket keepers we've ever had in Australia. Don't worry about that. And Shane Warne and all the greats attest to it. His name is Darren Chuck Berry, 153 first class games, of course, Victorian superstar, coached the South Australian Redbacks, and just all round good guy. Darren Chuck Berry, how are you, Chuck?
Thank you, big fella, for that lovely welcome, and great to be on board with Monty. The good thing between you and I, Matty, Monty's got 50 tests. You and I have got the same amount in our back pocket. Zero. Zero for you, zero for me. So it's a delight to be working with a test player. I tried hard for 15 years, and the closest I got, Monty, was the 97 Ashes tour, a bit before your time, only because Adam Gilchrist broke down. I got the late call-up. That was as close as I got to my test dream on an Ashes tour.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you got a lot to say about, this Australian team at the moment, because you've been a great coach yourself. And that's the exact thing we talked about, that during my time and probably your time, there were so many great players who couldn't get into the Australian team. And now you're looking for, the next sort of 20 players. Who are these players? You don't have the same level of depth at the moment.
Yeah, that's a fair call, I think, Monty, especially at the top of the batting order. I'm pretty comfortable with our middle order with Steve Smith and Travis Head, and whether they play Green or Webster, and our wicketkeeper, Alex Carey's quality. And our bowling is reliable, whilst we have some injuries, which we'll talk about. Cummins is a huge blow, and now Hazelwood out of the first test. But we've got good bowling depth. It's our batting that I think you English may be able to expose us a little bit early on. But I'll also throw it back into your court to say, is Jofra, the man that's played 2 tests in 2 years, going to be available? And will Mark Wood's bionic body hold up? Because if they do, they're the lethal weapons.
Well, you guys already called him the Invisible Man. Jofra Archer.
Yeah.
He's Invisible Man, isn't he? Well, the Invisible Man, I tell you what, the Australians better wake up, because if he starts bowling rockets, he could be just destroying that top order. So you're right. 2 Test matches, in 2 years, it's a big, big risk. And, if he stays injury-free, that's going to be the key for all the England bowlers. They've got the firepower, but they've got to stay injury-free. And if they can, then I reckon they've got a great chance of winning. And now you know Pat Cummins, no Josh Hazelwood.
Yeah.
It's the perfect chance to be 1-0 up at Perth. Honestly, England have got it all just ready for them. All they've got to do when Ben Stokes has to say the toss and it goes to heads, bat first, because you've got to bat first at Perth, because they've won all the Test matches, teams that have batted first. So that's what I think.
I think, Matty, I know you're hosting. We'll go back to you, Matty. I just want to say that England need to win. England need to win in Perth, because they cannot win in Brisbane. They never win in Brisbane. Monty knows that. So this first test now, no Cummins, no Hazelwood. I'll hand it back to you, boss. But this is crucial that England start positive, because if the Aussies can get the first blow, we'll beat them at the Gabba. You and I can play at the Gabba, Matty, and we'll still beat England up there. But this first test, I just can't wait for it. So much excitement and so much we're not sure about. That's the exciting thing.
So first test we go to Perth, second test the day nighter up at the Gabba, then we head to the Adelaide Oval just before Christmas. Then the big one, the Boxing Day test. It is huge, and then game number 5 is at the SCG. So it is going to be a cracking series. You've just touched on the fact Australia's got some real injury concerns. Chuck, I want to come to you first, and I want you to tell me who is going to open the batting. What are we thinking? Who are we thinking with
Well,
Usman Khawaja? And I know you've got some pretty serious thoughts about the Aussie selectors here.
yeah, look, Kawaja's in, so probably no use talking about it, but I think he's lucky to be in. I really do. I mean, he scored a magnificent double hundred, and let's be honest, he's been a very, very good player. But I think now he's past his best. And the things I'll say here, I think his feet are scrambled. He squares up, more nicks than a teenage shaver, Matty. I'll throw that in for you. And if Wood and Archer are putting that ball coming through between hip and shoulder at pace, I worry about Khawaja. I really do. But he's in. Who's his opening partner? Are they going to push Marnus back up again? I hope not. I really hope they go with young Jake Weatherald. They've picked him. So in the squad, I think he needs to open. So then we have the solidarity of Marnus at 3, Smith 4, Head 5, and then that number 6 will be debated between Green and Webster. The only debate is the opening batter, and I don't know what Monty thinks, but me, I'm going with Weatherald. Put him in there as an X factor.
What do you think, Monty?
100%. Look, I think you've got to go with Weatherall. I played with him, club cricket at Great Witchingham, where there's 500 people at a cricket club and a pub around the corner, to be honest. So we were like in this village, cricket club together playing. And I tell you what, when I bowled the first ball to him in the nets, he whacked me out of the ground. And I thought, nah, he's not that good, is he, this youngster? And then, I knew he scored a big bash 100, but I thought he was just a T20 player. But good on him. He's turned his fortunes around. He's worked really hard. And, Australia, they've got to give him a go now. They've got to back him. Like with Mike Hussey, he was a late debutant in his, sort of 30s. He's a 31-year-old. And the quicker the bowling, I tell you what, he will just put it out of the park. It's when it's a bit slower, under 90, under 85, miles per hour. So, with the firepower of, the England bowlers, I think he'll take him on. In a session, he'll just change the game completely. All he needs to do is bat a couple of hours. The next thing the game's, the whole session will be in Australia's favour. That's how dangerous this guy is. Honestly, I think he's going to be the X factor for Australia. He's an unknown guy. He's got, no one knows what he's going to bring to the table. I tell you what, he's going to be a fearless guy. He's going to just, take on the English bowlers, and they may not know what's hit them, so they can't take this guy lightly. This guy, what is it? Jake, the fisherman, because we did a bit of fishing together as well. And when we did do that, all he talked about was the Ashes. That's all he wanted to do. Because I want a baggy green. What is it like playing in the Ashes? Okay, and basically, all I said to him, I tell you what, at Perth, I got Gilchrist out second ball, and I thought, see you later, mate. I don't know what the big deal is about you. And then the second innings, he told me what the big deal was when I got hit for 4 sixes in 4 balls, mate. So that's Ashes cricket for you.
That is great, mate. Hey, listen, Monty, coming back to you, we obviously know we got Benny Stokes, we got Root, we got the the old stages, and you just spoke about Archer and Wood and a few of those. But who's your X factor? Who are the young ones coming through? Because I know Ricky Ponting and Chuck and a few of these really keen observers reckon there's a fair bit of talent coming through from an English cricket point of view as well.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I think Brendan Carr. Brian Cast is another one. He's obviously he's obviously like a really really good cricketer, and something special about him. He's got that sort of Andrew Flintoff length about him, heavy length, hits the deck really hard. Then you got young Jacob Bethel. He's a young left-hander. I think he'll probably bat at number 3 if Ollie Pop doesn't do that well in that first test match. He'll probably be giving him a goal. But then, there's Will Jacks as well. He bowls a heavy off-spin stock delivery. We often talk about, can you hear that music?
No, all good, mate.
Okay. And then we often obviously talk about what is it, Will Jacks, and I think his off spin is going to be more of a threat than his batting, because he bowls a heavy kind of like stock delivery. So there are a few youngsters that are coming through in the batting, bowling, and the pace bowling department. I think any of them three will probably grab it. Whoever grabs it by the horn will, will probably, play the next 12 months for England as well, because Ashes cricket is like that. You go to Australia, there'll be a few cricketers from the England team who'll come through and do really well. I reckon one of these three, youngsters, they'll probably, hopefully grab it and take on the Australians.
Matty, can I ask Monty? I just want to ask
can.
Monty a question about their spinners because Bashir's come as the number one spinner. You mentioned Jacks, who's a batter who's bowling quite well now as well. Do you think in Perth, Monty, that England will go all out pace, or do you think they'll play Bashir in the first test?
I think they'll go all out pace. They have to go all out pace. They've got to play four quicks and Ben Stokes be the fifth seamer. And if he's able to do that, then I think, that will be the ideal bowling lineup for England. Because we don't need Ben Stokes to be the main bowler. I know he's taken 6 wickets just recently against the Lions. But if Ben Stokes is going to be the main bowler for this Australia for the England team, then England are in deep trouble. You need the quicks to stand up, and this is the perfect scenario. It's like me bowling in Mumbai on a spinning track first day, or at Eden Gardens recently now, right? Where the ball is just turning from day one. It's the same situation for these quicks.
So they got no spinners.
Got
They've got no spinners,
yeah.
Matty, is the answer. They have no spinners. Monty's coming out of retirement. Bashir got bashed in the lead-up game against the Lions, and then they're going to roll out Joe Root's little nude off spinners. So we won't be threatened by spin. If they can't get us with pace, they're not going to get us with spin. And don't underestimate the wily old off spinner of Nathan Lyon. Whilst we've got a few quicks injured, I think Lyon will still have a role to play because England will try and bash him, and I think it'll play into Lions' hands.
Well, that was going to be my next question, Chuck. So obviously, with the injuries to the fast bowling stakes, do they take Nathan Lyon into that Perth test, the Aussies? You'd think Mitch Starc, Scotty Boland are going to get the nod as well. Who else is going to get the nod, do you think, from a bowling point of view for the Aussies?
Yeah, well, Cummins and Hazelwood, they are huge blows, as Monty's referred to. They're irreplaceable, but we've got good depth. It appears that Doggett from South Australia, originally a Brisbane boy, he's got a bit of pace and he swings it. He's in good form. It looks like he might make his test debut. Personally, I would go with Michael Neser only because he lengthens the batting at number 8. That we're going to miss Pat Cummins' lower order runs. Our tail it's a long tail. It's pin the tail on the donkey, if you like. Michael Neser would replace Cummins for me at that number 8 position. He's been added to the squad. But it appears, hearing around the trap, so it's going to be Boland, Starc, Doggett and Lyon, and then obviously Green or Webster as the all-rounder. But personally, and it's not going to happen, I'd play Michael Neser. I love his heart. He's a three-dimensional, bats, bowls and fields. That's what I would do. But I think you'll see Starc, Boland, Doggett and Lyon as the main bowlers, and then Webster, or I think it'll be Green as the all-rounder, Matty.
Hey, Monty, I'm going to come back to you, mate. You've lost your last 4 series. How do you beat the Aussies on their home deck this year, mate? Tell us how you're going to do it. Bazball, tell us all about it.
Well, you've got to be the Bazball. They've got to take on. I think bowling is going to be the key. That guy controls one end and take wicket. Now, if you take on Scott Boland and take him out of the attack, go after him. He's probably, it's a big moment for him because he normally plays with, great bowlers around him. So, that sort of covers him up a little bit. It's easier, as a batsman when you know that, you got Starc, Pat Cummins, bowling, and then, you got Boland coming in. But now all the attention is on him now. He's got to raise his game. He's got to be the guy to replace, let's say, Pat Cummins as the leader of the attack. Obviously, you got, Mitchell Starc there with his experience. But I think that's the guy you target at Perth. You go after him. Zach Crawley, like we often see, the test matches. That first ball is going to be massive. We know what he does. He'll be, on top of off stump, whoever bowls that first ball. And then Zach Crawley just got to smash it out of the ground for 4. That first ball of the test match like he does in England. And that's the authority. They're going to just say to them, yeah, we're here to take the Aussies on. That's going to be that sort of attitude that they show. So it's going to be big. That first session is going to be massive for England when they come out to bat. And it's got to be Bazball, 100%. It's going to be fast. It's going to be bouncy. And the Australians will be just looking around. What's going on here? Yeah, the ball's going everywhere, mate. It's going at 7, 8 and over. They got no answer. Bring Nathan Lyon on after the 10th over, with a hard new ball.
Dream,
Let's see how good
dream,
he is then, mate.
dream,
When they hit him out of the park as
dream,
well.
dream, dream, dream. You watch Bazball come unstuck in Perth when they try and swing from the rafters, and Scotty Boland just hits that length. Mitchell Stark swinging it around corners, and old Bazball is 4 for 38. Then let's see what the Poms have got. Then let's see, Matty.
Get used to this, Monty, because I'll tell you what, he's going to serve it up to you this series. That is for sure, big fella. Hey, listen, let's have a look at game one, the Palmer Bet market. Australia $1.72 to win this head-to-head. England at $2.50. The draw is $12. I'll come back to you, Monty. $2.50. You're having a little piece of that, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a great bet. I think that is a really good bet there. So 100%. I'll definitely put a couple of Aussie dollars on that.
Chuck, what about you, mate? Are you confident? $1.72 might be like taking candy from a baby.
Well, with my Aussie hat on, I'd say yes. But to be honest, and for our wonderful sponsors, Palmer Bet, I apologise. My background tonight, because I'm over 50 years of age, I haven't quite worked it out. It's a little bit like Monty Panesar's batting. It's just gone missing. My Palmer Bet's gone missing. But if I was having a bet responsibly with Palmer Bet, I like the $2.50 of England, and that's un-Australian for me to say that. It'd be a different story if we were going to the Gabba first up, but I'm probably with Monty. I'm taking the $2.50 for England right now.
Wowzers, I suppose, with Cummings and Hazelwood out, they are big outs, that is for sure. Let's have a look at some other markets, some future markets at Palmer Bet. The series result, the Aussies are the faves here, $1.57. The draw's at $9.50, and England to win the Ashes, $3.05. Interesting to note too, 2 out of the last 4 series have been drawn, with the team that's obviously won the Ashes holding on and retaining them. $9.50, Monty, might be a little play there at Palmer Bet.
Exactly. I think that's another, really, really good bet to go for, 100%. Get them in early because, with the injuries that the Australian have at the moment, if England start really well, like we expect them to do, they'll be coming in at all, firing at all cylinders. I think that's a great bet.
Chuck?
I'm with the Aussies to win the series 3-2. We haven't had many draws in Australia of recent times. The only thing that'll muck us up is this weather at the moment. We're having a fair bit of rain over here. I hope that clears out. If we get good conditions, I don't anticipate weather will interfere, and not many Aussie test matches last 5 days. So if I'm having a bet here, I'm going Australia to win the series 3-2.
Righto, I love it. Righto, let's move along now to the top series run scorer and the Palmer Bet market. Steve Smith, the Aussie captain, is our favourite at $4.50. Joe Root at $5.60 has not scored 100 in Australia, Monty. Harry Brook at $6. Travis Head, $7.25. Marnus Labuschagne at $7.25. Usman Khawaja, your man Chuck, at $10.50. Benny Duckett at $10.50. Cam Green, $15. Zach Crawley at $15. Benny Stokes at $21. Jamie Smith, $21. And Ollie Pope also at $21. I'll come back to you, Chuck. Which way are you heading here for the top series run scorer?
Well, the smart money would go with Steve Smith, but as a punter, I just want to add a little bit of value for my man Travis Head, because batting at number 5, I think, is going to be a little easier than at the top of the order. So I think you gave me $7.50 on Palmer Bet for Travis Head. So I'm going to put it on the line and say the value bet there, Travis Head for me. And I don't know what Monty's reaction will be to this. I was lucky enough to coach Jamie Smith in the London 100. That's when he was the second best wicketkeeper at Surrey behind Ben Folkes. And now he's the England wicketkeeper. But I think Jamie Smith's a really good bat, Monty. And batting at number 7, I hope the Aussies don't relax when he comes in. And at $21, again, I'm offering value there. I think Smith could have a good series. Keep an eye on him, Matty. You haven't seen him yet. He's a good bat.
Yeah, righto, mate. I like it. Monty, what are your thoughts, mate, on the top scorer for the series?
I agree with Chuck there. With Jamie Smith at number 7, and probably Cameron Green will come in at 6 to bat. For the Australians there. So when he comes and bowls, his back of a length deliveries, the sort of medium paces. I think Jamie Smith will probably knock that out of the park, and I can see that happening. I can see him kind of like scoring impact runs, important runs for England. And I think that's a great bet on Jamie Smith to be the leading run scorer for England. because he's got that talent, and he's that sort of guy. He's got that Adam Gilchrist sort of impact about him. So yeah, I definitely agree with Chuck there.
Right, let's go to another one. Top England series wicket taker. In the Palmer Bet market, Jofra Archer at $3.60 is the favourite. Gussie Atkinson at $3.75. Josh Tongue at $4.20. Benny Stokes at $6. Bryden Cass at $6.50. Mark Wood $7.50. Shoaib Bashir, the spinner, at $9. Monty, lead us into something for the Palmer Bet followers. What are you thinking, mate?
Look, I think Cass is a really good one to go for because he's got a bit of a heart about him. He's a South African. He's going to bowl all day to you. He's got that strong sort of mental attitude about him as well. He bowls a heavy length. He bowls quick. He'll bowl fast. Yeah, the Aussies will probably look to take him on, but he's relentless. He'll keep coming back at them. So I think that's a great bet to have. Has him as a leading, wicket taker for England. And I think out of all the bowlers, I think he's the guy who will probably be injury free. I could see him play all 5 Test matches. He's fit as a fiddle, fit as a butcher's dog, and that would be a great bet.
Sharky, having a little play here at all for the top English wicket taker?
I hope none of them take any wickets, to be honest. But we're offering our Palmer Bet supporters some really good value there. I mean, the obvious is to go for Archer. The obvious is to go to Root and Smith for most runs. That's the obvious bet if you want to be safe. I'm not sure how many tests Wood and Archer are going to stand up for, but I do know for a fact that the Australians don't fear many bowlers around the world, but they really respect Mark Wood. Now, a bit of an injury concern in Perth with Mark Wood, but if he gets going in Perth and Brisbane in those first 2 tests, he is seriously fast. He bowls a heavy ball. I don't know about the series most wickets. I'm not sure he'll get through the 5 tests. But those first 2, I'd be having a little nibble around Mark Wood if he can get on the park.
I love it. Now, listen, you're both on England in the first test, seeing the value of $2.50 to beat the Aussies head-to-head. What about to score a century in this first contest? The Palmer Bet market, Steve Smith, $4.50. Labuschagne at $5.50. Travis Head, $6.50. And Khawaja at $6.50. So the Aussies, the top 4 in the markets. Then we go to Harry Brook. He's at $6.50. Joe Root, $6.50. Benny Duck at $7.50. Cam Green, $10. Ben Stokes, $11. Zach Crawley, $11. What are you thinking here? Can anyone score 100 on this bouncy, quick Perth wicket, Monty?
Well, I think if you look at it, someone like Ben Stokes, he managed to score his first 100 at Perth as well, back in 2013. So he's familiar with these kind of conditions, and I think that's a good bet. To go after Ben Stokes, he'll probably come back at 6, and we've seen him play some incredible innings against Australia. You remember the one at Lord's, that incredible innings. He just took them on. The Australians had no answer, didn't know what to do. And, I'm sure there'll be a moment, during Perth where Ben Stokes will take them on. He will take on the new inexperienced Australian attack that we're going to see. And, with Mitchell Starc, if he doesn't swing it, I tell you what, he'll be going out of the park. So I think, Ben Stokes is the one who I think would get 100.
This is all you need to worry about. That's all you need to worry about for the batting. That's who's going to score the runs. The kangaroo and the emu, all right? It's not a real one. That was my pretend one on the 97 Ashes tour. So I don't bring it out much, Monty, but they did give me one. And I'm just looking in there for a number, but there's no number. So, but the number will be in Perth, Travis Head, all right, or Alex Carey to score 100 at number 5 or number 7. That's where my value play is. Marnus is in good form in Shield cricket. He scored about 1700s this year. So Marnus has got to be right in the market, but I like value at Palmer Bet. I'm going Travis Head or a little sneaky $10 on Alex Carey.
Actually, Monty, I just want to see that hat again. Was that an XL? Big Bolson, big chuck, or was it just an L? I think it might have been just an L, was it?
He just brought it from a souvenir shop, mate.
You know what I look like now with the glasses and the green? I look like one of your friends, Monty. Old Greg Matthews. That's who I look like. Old Moe Matthews there. Hey, I shouldn't wear that because I'm proud, but it's not real. Monty didn't bring his England cap in. Mine was only a touring hat. I'm proud of that, Matty, but you won't see it again. Sitting above me here in my study, I thought I'll bring it out because that's who's going to win the series.
It looks like you bought it from a souvenir shop, mate.
Don't tell anyone, Monty, but that's exactly what it is.
Hey, listen, one quick one before we let you go. Monty, biggest pest on tour for you, mate, when you're back with your England days.
Yeah, look, in Australia, like, Perth was brilliant. Sydney was great as well. It's the crowd. I love the crowd, and I can't wait to come to Australia and mix in with the Australian public because I thoroughly enjoyed my time in Australia whenever I played in the Ashes.
Love it. Chuck, what about you, mate? Who was your biggest pest in team camps, buddy?
Pretty obvious. My favourite teammate ever for both, I was lucky, Victoria. Obviously, I didn't play for Australia, but he was also the biggest pest in the Australian dressing rooms, without doubt. Mervyn Gregory Hughes, the big fella, he was known as the fruit fly, Australia's cereal pest.
I love it. Hey, listen, download the Palmerbet app yourself. It's easy to navigate. There's plenty of offerings in there, that is for sure. It's a really, really simple app to get through. And as we always say, think, is that the bet you really want to have? This is the Ashes Palmerbet Cricket Show. Monty Panesar, Chuck Berry, test number 1. She is going to be on. It's over at Perth. It all kicks off this week. It is going to be on. I can't wait to catch up with you boys right throughout this series.
Thanks, gentlemen. Been an absolute privilege. Monty, good luck, and I look forward to previewing the second test when the Aussies are 1-0 up, even though I've backed the Poms this first test.
Yeah. Well, I'll hopefully review with you when we see Ben Stokes just shake hand and Jofra Archer sort of just tells the Australian media the invisible man has become visible because we've beaten Australia 1-0 at Perth.
Love it, boys. We'll talk in a couple of weeks.
Hey, Matty, make sure Johnny Bairstow stays in his crease. Oh, no, he's not here. That's right. Sorry, he's not
here. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.